How's it going, garden people? Welcome to the Hidden Gardens. Today we're going to do a continuation of a garden transformation, transplanting, planting, all the things. I will link part 1 down below, and in that video we moved all this catmint out to the back garden area and removed all of the coral bells heuchera plants that were back here, as well as the lungwort, pulmonaria plants. Also in that video, we planted this Golden Shadows pagoda dogwood, which is looking absolutely spectacular, and I'm really pleased with its placing back here in the garden. I was able to get the coral bells into the ground off camera, but we're going to move over to the side garden a little bit back here, and we're going to clean this area up. And we're going to get the lungwort pulmonaria plants into the ground, as well as plant a few plants as well. As you can see, it's windy, so the background is mostly some music, and I did put in a little bit of the noise background here and there where I could. First up, I'm taking out this camellia plant that just wasn't thriving, as you can see. It's been in there for a season or two and just wasn't getting any bigger. It was only getting smaller, so out it goes. And I'm popping in a Bigfoot Cleara over here, and hopefully that'll do a little bit better. Where this is right underneath the tree, I wasn't able to dig down too far, so I am building up the soil. And I've also decided to dig up this snake root because it's, one, right in the way, and two, in the sun that it gets very, very little sun, but even when it does, it just gets super sad in it. So I moved it back behind the tree, and it should be in some nice full shade there, and it should be a lot happier in that spot. And the variety that you can see here is chocolate. So it's a white snake root. It's actually a native for my area. And here I have the pulmonaria. What I'm doing is I'm going to cut back all of the foliage on it, partly because I'm transplanting it, and that way it won't have to support all of the foliage trying to get acclimated to its new spot, and also because it was getting a little bit of powdery mildew as well. So just cutting it off and starting fresh, doing a nice chop, giving it a good haircut should do well for the plant's success in thriving in its new little spot, and hopefully take care of the powdery mildew situation as well. This plant is considered a toxic plant. While the white snake root plant was poisonous, this one is just toxic. There is a difference between one will really, really seriously hurt you. The other one will probably just make you kind of sick. Particularly where I'm chopping this down, I'm trying hard not to get it on my skin and such, and rinsing with a hose if I do get it too much on my skin. But I didn't run into any problems after the fact, after I cut these down. But if that's something that concerns you, just do your due diligence and take your precautions as you need. Do you listen to anything while you garden? Do you listen to music or podcasts or TV shows? I'm currently listening to the Tudors Showtime show. Drop below in the comments what kind of things you like to listen to, or do you like to not listen to anything and just listen to nature? In my neighborhood, I have lots of background noise between dogs, and there's a busy road close by, so I hear lots of backing up and beeping and construction noise, as well as the ocean's not too far away, so I definitely hear some boats and boat traffics and horns and such. Plus my kids in the background, and there's almost always a lawnmower going, and never mind the planes flying up above. So lots of noise. So I did my best to kind of clean up the area, get most of the weeds that are out of here. And then I planted all of these. This is a mix of the Proven Winners Raspberry Splash, Pinkaboo, and Spot On varieties of pulmonaria. So I got them all cut back and into the ground and watered them in, and at least this part of the transformation is set for now. And additionally, as mentioned before, I got the Bigfoot Clear in to the right, as well as planted another one to the left, and moved the snake root as well. And those will get about 20 feet tall, but only about 6 feet wide, the Bigfoot Clearas. And the snake root will stay fairly small and compact. Next, we're going to move over to the dog area, where I've got to take out the 2 Camellias that were definitely not doing well, and the other 2 that were marginally doing well. And we're going to replace them with these Camellias that are more size appropriate for the area, in that they don't get as wide as the ones that I ended up planting there. This is a couple of attempts of Camellias over here, so we're going to really cross our fingers. We're going to hope that these do well, and we're also going to try and protect them a little bit over the winter, I think, just to try and get them much more established, and hopefully after that I won't need to do any protection over the winter. But for now, since these are about a zone 7B, and I am just that, a zone 7B, they may require just a little bit of attention over the winter, in the way of making sure that the soil stays wet enough, and if it's getting too cold, to just kind of protect the root balls, particularly because where I'm planting them, they're up off the ground just a tad. So we've added October Magic Dawn Camellia on the outer skirts, and the Marie Bracy Spellbound in the inner spots. And then in the middle is a Leslie Ann. So all of those Camellias will hopefully stay evergreen and grow up nice, not too big, not too tall, about 8 feet, give or take, and about 4 feet wide, give or take. So nice, thin, good for this particular dog area. We don't want it too tall, and we don't want it too wide, but we do want evergreen. Moving back to the back area where one of our rabbit friends are hanging out. This year especially, we are a very rabbit heavy neighborhood. So I do my best to try and plant things that the rabbits aren't going to eat, or at least if they're going to eat them, I try to protect them by, putting them up in pots, or, protecting them, and hopefully they'll get big enough that the rabbit won't decimate them. Otherwise, I'd be out here with the rabbit repellent pretty much every day, between the humidity that we get and the usually we do get good bouts of rain. So I try to just go for the plants that the rabbits aren't going to go for. And as you can see, it's time to change up this backside a little bit, and instead of having all pulmonaria, I decided to plant a Japanese maple. This one is a red Sentinel Japanese maple, so I'm gonna pop up one of the pulmonaria and plant this maple in its place. As you can see, it definitely needed to be in the ground. This is how I got it from the big box store when it arrived. So it's definitely got a small root ball, so we're gonna cross our fingers, and we're gonna really kind of keep an eye on it throughout the summer, keep it well watered, and hopefully it'll get some good rooting system going in, and by this time next year it'll have come back and look better than it does now. So that's what we're going to do, is get it into the ground, and I'm going to use definitely some Biotone starter fertilizer to try and help jumpstart those roots down there, as well as mixing in some compost so that it'll have some good nutrients to feed off of in the ground. Twombly's red sentinel gets about 10 to 12 feet tall, about 5 to 6 feet wide, hardy down to zone 5. So this should be a pretty nice addition to this area over here. Definitely a much needed red coloring over in this area. As you can see, the pulmonaria is growing back well. The hydrangeas starting more out to bloom now. This project took over a period of about 2 or 3 weeks altogether. I don't get every day out in the garden. I get 1 or 2 days depending. So I can do what I can do when I can do it, and this is as much and about as far as I got so far for this day. As you can see, I've decided on more planting. Again, I did get those coral bells in, and I was able to get to the garden center and get some dirt because we're gonna move these garden beds out just a little bit to account for the new plantings. And this area over here where these Japanese maples are, I'm pretty sure I'm gonna put those in, but I may save that for a little bit closer to fall when it's not so hot out. So I'll just kind of baby them and nurse them in pots until it's a little bit cooler out. We'll see. Moving right along and getting these plants into the ground, I was able to auger the holes for most of them, but where I'm moving into the grass area, and it's more of a weedier area too because the grass is just more weeds than grass at the moment. What I did was take out what weeds I could, but then I laid down paper bags and put the planting mix on top of it. And that's just kind of giving me just a little bit of a jump start in the battle against the weeds back here. It's not going to stop them completely, but it does give a little bit of a reprieve from having to pull all of them. So this should kill out the majority of them for the season, or at least for most of the season. And the paper bags, I find, do break down faster than like using cardboard. So cardboard would be something I would use in like a walkway. But the paper bags I'll use in garden beds to help with the weed suppression when I'm starting new planting or moving, new bedding or stuff like that. And that I find works really well. And this is a Magic Show Wizards of Oz Veronica, which is going along with the theme of the Emerald City Garden, to go along with all the emerald arborvitaes that are planted in the backdrop here. And this plant gets about 14 to 16 inches tall and about 18 to 22 inches wide, and should do a nice job in this area. It is mostly part shade-ish, but it does get good spots of sun as well, because there's a tree in front of it, and then there's trees way above it, but the afternoon sun tends to come smacking right into these spots along the side. So hopefully the plants that I'm putting in front of the coral bells will give it enough shade. The coral bells did do well in this spot before when I had moved them out, but I've put them back into just a little bit of a different transformation. So hopefully everything will do well. These grasses were a bit root bound, having been in their pots for a little while, so I did rough up the roots on those a bit, but hopefully everything will take and do well in these spots. This variety of grass is the Benikazi, and that grows about 2 feet tall and wide, and is hardy zone 5 to 9, and gets some really, really pretty fall colors. So should be a good fit for this area. Like I said, it's a part shaded area, especially closest to the middle where the dogwood is planted. That one's mostly shade, but on the outskirts, like around where the tree is, it gets a little bit more full sun, so it's a bit of a up and down area for light. I'm adding 2 Let's Dance lovable hydrangeas, hydrangea macrophyllus, over flanking along these sides. Those get about 3 to 4 feet tall and wide, and these should do well in this area as well as far as the sun recommendations go. These are also zone 5 through 9, and for my area, Cape Cod, we are known for our hydrangeas, and I'll probably add some soil acidifier to try and turn these more on the bluish purpler side as time goes on. Also in this area, I'm adding the two fairy tale green and one fairy tale fresco cascading hydrangeas, and those get about 4 to 5 feet tall, but they're cascading. So hopefully those will look really pretty cascading over this big branch that I have for the garden border. So I'm hoping that these will do really well. Listening to the Proven Winners podcast with Stacy and Rick, they mentioned how these cascading hydrangeas would do better in afternoon as opposed to morning sun in terms of overwintering for saving their buds and stuff. So this area definitely gets blasted with afternoon sun as opposed to morning sun. Not a lot of it. Particularly where I'm planting these is definitely a little bit more shaded, like I mentioned, part shade area. But I'm hoping that these will do well. I think they will. These cascading hydrangeas are also zone 5 through 9, like most of the plants here, and where I'm a zone 7 garden. Hopefully, preferably, all these plants should do really well and really thrive in my area, and hopefully with the sun placement do really well as well. So I'm pretty pleased at all the progress that I was able to make here. I'm hoping the coral bells will kind of fill in as far as like being like a little river of coral bells between these back plantings and front plantings. So we'll see how things develop as time goes. All the heuchera, the coral bell plants, those, and the majority, if not all of them, are Proven Winners varieties. So hopefully that'll make like a nice river in between the front planting and back planting, and hopefully that'll look really pretty and give each other enough space and shade to kind of really do well. So we'll see how things develop as they go. I definitely like how this area is shaping up, but there's still more to do. I'm going to get the catmint that were in pots. Those still need to go into the ground in this video, as well as the Sergeant Pepper red twig dogwoods. I had one, so I picked up another one at the store, as you can see right there, and I'm going to get those in the ground as well. The red twig dogwoods get about 4 to 6 feet tall and about 6 to 8 feet wide. They're hardy down to zone 3, so zone 3 to 7. So hopefully in this more shaded back area, they should stay cool enough in the summer, and you know, they only get a little bit of that afternoon sun, so it's just a small enough chunk that they're still getting the sun that they need, but hopefully they're shaded enough that they won't burn or anything like that. And so far they've been doing well, so keep your fingers crossed on that one. But I think that they're going to do really well and be very pretty in this spot, especially in the winter, because it needed that little bit of red pop against the emerald arbs, so that should be pretty. And we aren't done yet, because as you can see, these catmint are planted a bit higher than the ground level. So I need to come in with some planting mix here and get rid of the weeds as well and mulch up the area. So we're going to do that in this video as well. Please consider subscribing so that you can check on the progress in future videos of this area as well as other parts of my garden. I'll be doing a back garden tour pretty soon here, so watch out for that. But definitely consider subscribing. It helps me out, it helps the channel out, and it gives you the ability to follow along in my gardening journey, and hopefully I'll give you some inspiration to do things in your garden. And I'm pretty pleased that I was able to actually get some of the mulch down. This is a spruce pine mix mulch. And that not only helps with weed suppression a bit, but it also helps retain moisture. So it'll help really keep these plants, going along in the hot days of summer. It'll keep the water in and hopefully keep these plants nice and secure as the summer heat continues. Additionally, the spruce pine that I chose is a good kind to put into the ground because over time, as it breaks down, it'll really help develop the soil under as well, which will obviously help feed the plants and keep the plants nice as well. So far so good. I got the dogwoods in, I got the rest of the catmint in, the coral bell little river that we've got going on should be pretty nice. All of these plantings in, the dogwood in, and pretty much the last bit that I'm going to do for this video is just pop up the azaleas and get that area mulched. As you can see, these azaleas weren't really thriving in this spot. They were doing okay, but they weren't really thriving. They weren't getting very big very fast. And these aren't a particularly slow grower, but they were just kind of meh. Like, okay, I'll live here, but it's okay. So I've had moved these before. Like you can see, that one wasn't even rooted in. So, and they've been in here for about 2 seasons or so. So they definitely should have been doing better than they were here. As well as the blooming was a bit sporadic. I only got a little bit of blooms on like the one on the edge. So they just were not getting enough sun in this spot and we're just not happy anyways. So I pulled those up. I put them into pots for now until I decide where I want to put them. I added some planting mix to this area because, again, with the true roots, I wasn't able to get the catmint down. And while both those catmints weren't able to go down, I found that I needed to pop up this Anna's Magic Ball just a tad, just so that it would be about the same level as the catmint. So I also did that while I was over here, and I got all the planting mix in and tried to tamp down the area but not compress it, just kind of try and take out any air pockets, particularly around the Anna's Magic Ball that I just popped up, but I didn't want to compress the area too much. So that's where I landed, and I was able to now get the mulch down as well, and this area is pretty much buttoned up for now, and I will continue along transforming this whole back area. I do have some brunnera I'm thinking of putting in this spot somewhere, and some more to do, but as time goes on, we'll see what I decide to do. So I hope you liked this video. If you did, give it a like, press the like button, that helps as well, and maybe push it out to more people that find these like garden vlog type videos interesting. And I hope that this video inspires you to continue along on your gardening journey, whatever that looks like for you. And thank you for coming along on mine.